am Nikita Barnett Hamilton. Now, I want us to use this opportunity to intertwine our Jamaicanness with social studies. Social studies is very dynamic and relatable. If you look on my screen right here, you will see a very prominent Jamaican family, the MTM family. And sit back, pay attention, learn. A strong word came out in Popcorn song, family. We say family. From this perspective, I believe that he was referring to those loyal friends, those persons who have him back through thick and thin, high or low. I have some of those persons that I would call sisters or brothers. But is that a formal definition for family? Let us check this out. Now, today we want to ensure that we cover some objectives. One, you should be able to define family formally. You should be able to examine 4 functions of the family in contemporary Caribbean society. In other words, modern society, nowadays society. And I also want you to be able to draw representations of Caribbean family types. Finally, I want you to appreciate efforts made to maintain the family. Let's go. First, according to Brathwaite et al., a family is a group of persons related by blood, marriage, or adoption. You must have heard this before somewhere, either at home, in another class, or so. But have you taken the time to dissect it? Again, in reference to Popcorn song, family, we say family. Is it that he was referring to blood? What do we mean by blood? Biological. You can trace it back to your ancestors. So you want to ensure that when you say family, Mark, it is good to have your friends be there for you and love upon you. But formally, it's those persons that you are truly related to. A cousin, Uncle Sam cousin, your grandmother, mommy cousin, they are your blood, your brothers and your sisters. Now, marriage, how would that come in? I can say, for example, my uncle got married to Auntie Tracy and she became a part of the family. Automatically, I started calling her family because she came in by marriage. And finally, adoption. Sometimes we see persons and we are not sure, like we say, no, they don't belong to us because they are not of the same bloodline. However, if they were adopted, name on birth certificate, they are now a part of your family. And as a result of that, you must accept them. All right? Now, with that said, we want to look at some of the functions of the family. You're in a family, have you ever thought that, is mommy supposed to do this for sure? Is it that grandma is supposed to do this? Here are some of the functions of the family. And we're taking our time. We want to make sure it cements and you learn. So today we're looking at 4 functions of the family according to the CSEC syllabus. Always use that as your reference guide. You can just go to Google, type in Social Studies, CSEC syllabus, and bam, it will pop up and guide you even after the lesson. So here we go. First one, we want to look at emotional and psychological support. There is also socialization, procreation, and economic maintenance. So these are 4 functions. I'm giving you a few seconds just to digest them and make sure that you understand what we're about to delve into. All right? Here goes. Understood. Remember at the beginning I said we're going to be using our Jamaicanness to bring this lesson to life. When you look at this person, I'm sure you all know her. She is the girlfriend of Usain Bolt with beautiful, beautiful Olympia. How is this important? Olympia is as a result of procreation, and that is a function of the family. Let us read what we have here. Procreation is the same as to reproduce, to have young ones or offspring. Without procreation, the human race would not exist. So, can you imagine? Let us pause there, sir. Can you imagine now that in this 2020, them decide, say, no, no more baby. No more baby. I am not going to reproduce. What would happen to us? Would we, say, in another 10 years, have enough engineers, enough garbage collectors, enough plumbers, enough cosmetologists? We need these persons to ensure that our human race continues. We need these persons to ensure that society is functional, because without us, there is no society. That's just it, plain and simple. It's the family's role to ensure continuity of the human race by introducing new members. And here goes Princess Olympia. She is a new member of the human race. In your own home, in your own community, you may look and you see some babies being born, and of course, when you're procreating, you have to do it with discretion, because again, all the functions of the family important. So this is one. You can't just be procreating. You understand? You want to balance the procreation process. So which other function of the family are we going to be looking at? Socialization. Now, let me tell you a story before I go into all of this. Growing up, I would have to learn that we must have manners. Manners. I don't know if this generation believe in manners like we would. However, the socialization process would ensure that if I see an elderly on the road, mommy, daddy, a church sister, somebody taught me that I should care for them. If I'm sitting in the bus and the elderly is standing, give them my seat. That is a part of the socialization process. Okay, let's look at using knife and fork. Is it important? Some of us just want to use the big spoon and eat everywhere we go, everywhere. It cannot work. Socialization would teach us proper etiquette to know, say, all right, if you're at home and you decide that you want to sit on your veranda and use your spoon, okay, that's your business. It's your private space. But you're going to a dinner, you're all dressed up, you're looking cute and elegant, or you're in your suit and your tux, and yeah, you're bling. When you go to, for example, a hotel, are you going to be using the spoon to eat the rice and the chicken? Can't work. No. So socialization is what helps us to be functional in society. And the family has a responsibility to ensure that this is taught. The family has a responsibility to transmit values, to transmit good attitudes. So let us read a little bit before I talk some more. And I do hope you're following. The family is responsible for teaching children values and attitudes that will prepare them to behave appropriately in society. Nowadays, some of us may say appropriate is conditional. There are some things that are not conditional. Having manners is one of them, right? So here goes. They should know that personal grooming is important. You are socialized to know that you must put your hair together. If you're a guy, even if you grow your hair, you must take care of it, wash it. You must ensure that you wash your clothes, practice proper hygiene. All of those are part of the socialization process. You're also taught to respect authority. And I hold my head down because I think this is a sore point in our society. Why is it so? Is it that the family is lacking the necessary or the requisite skills to ensure that the values and the attitudes where authority and respect is concerned is dying? It's no longer there? If we look at even how they've been treating our law enforcers, you see some breaking out the police vehicles. You see it's curfew time. And nobody has, forgive me, some persons have no regard for authority. You are supposed to learn these things as you grow in your family. You go to the workplace, you must know that there's a particular way to address your boss, to address your supervisor. You're in the community, you must know that there's a particular way to address the elders. And if it is that you are just on the bus, you see the UTC, for example, driver, you should know that you must say good morning. Some of you may say, them elderly not no manners. Them have no manners. Me don't know why me have manners to them. That is true. Some of them are very disrespectful. We can't go against that. However, you are taught to keep your mouth. Keep your mouth. So you know that because of the position that this person holds, they may not be relating to you as they ought to. You stand resolute on the fact that you've been socialized to respect authority. And that is a role of the family. The family is the number one agent of socialization, right? And when you learn this in your family, by chance, you have to pass this on to your children. What other thing are we going to be looking at? How to act responsibly. All right? We look at this as, let us use this example. When you get to the age of 18, you know that it is okay for you to go to the parties. It's okay for you to have a little extra fun outside of what your parents would grant you. Do you know that you're not to drink and drive? Something like that. When you get to the age of 18 and say you decide to engage in sexual relations, the ads are all over. Are you reminded, are you sure that you are not to have unprotected sex, for example? These things are lessons to act responsible, to protect yourself, to protect the family, and by extension, the society. And the final thing on the socialization that I will be looking at is our culture. Earlier I said, if the elder says something to you and you don't like it, keep your mouth. That is a part of our culture. We heard popcorn music a while ago, family, it's a part of our culture. If no time is spent transmitting and socializing us to respect our culture, what would happen to Jamaica culture? Nothing. If you weren't taught about Bob Marley, how would you know? Are we aware of Miss Lou? Are we aware of persons like the great Rex Nettlefoot? I don't want us to get lost, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, in just our present culture. Yes, Alkaline important, Vibes Cartel is important, we know Ragging King, Shenseea, all of them, they're important to our culture. However, never forget the past. Never forget those persons who would have ensured that our culture went far and wide. It is therefore the responsibility of families, every family, whether you are nuclear, extended, single, reorganized, whichever type of family, that you pass on our culture. When we think about some aspects of our culture, we know that religion is there, big. I spoke about dancehall earlier. So we are big on Christianity. It is a part of our culture. It's who we are. Are you embracing it? When we also think about our culture, we patois. Wagwan, yeah, you know, so I must stay good, I look good, I feel good. It's a part of who we are. You understand? So we can't put it aside. We have to ensure that as a people, we pass this on in our families because patriotism is important. Jamaica little, but with Talawa. If we don't pass this on over time through our families, then we would be in problems. All right? So, with those two out of the way, I'm going to be looking at two other functions of the family. Economic maintenance. And I hold my head down again. It's deliberate, by the way. We have in some countries, and we would see it present in our country too, child labor. It's against the law, FYI. No child should be working. A child should be nourished and taken care of by an adult, a responsible one. So let me get that out of the way. When we say economic maintenance, the family is responsible for providing the basic needs of its members. What are the basic needs? You look, you see them here. Food, this is nice. We can imagine that this is steak and the vegetables over that side. You see the knife and fork that I told you about for socialization, you must be able to eat. It's there and this. We can say this is some mashed potato. The family is responsible for providing basic needs, and one of these things is food. Right? If you want to think this is mackerel, that is fine. If you want to think that over here is some callaloo, whatever it is, as long as you're being nourished with food. Over here we have clothing. There is no way that a child, and when I say child, you are between the ages of 0 to 17, should be thinking about clothes. Not at all. It's the parents, it's the adult's responsibility, a granny responsibility. It's their responsibility to ensure that you are properly clad. So you have school in September, and you are wondering, how am I going to get my uniform? And one of the things that is very present in our society, and as I said, social studies is a very relatable subject. One of the things is that we know that there are some females or gentlemen of the CSEC age group that they have to go out of their way, man, to get these basic needs. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And I want you to know this right now. If you know it already, I want it to be reinforced. It is the family's responsibility to ensure that the basic needs of the family is provided. The other one that we have here is shelter. Many of us would know this song. I've got a roof up above me, a good place to sleep, food on my table and shoes on my feet. Right? Yes, they are talking about God. Good. But in the representative form of God, it's the family. We have to ensure that these needs are met. And we can imagine, or we can look around us and see, when these basic needs are not met, what happened? What really happened? Breaks our heart. We see some of our females engaging in relationships that we wouldn't want them to because they might try to make ends meet. We see some of our young men sitting on the corners or getting involved with some relationships where, it's going to be to their demise. If as a family, we take pride in ensuring that the economic maintenance is done, we would have better results. Don't you believe that? I believe that. It is also the family's responsibility to ensure children's needs, educational needs, are met. And that falls under economic maintenance. All right, so you're still in school and you're not an adult. Should you be thinking about your tuition? Should you be thinking about the extracurricular fees? Mark you, if you are saving, say grandma will give you some money, or you do summer job and you can put a little aside, that is responsible, that is good. However, outside of that, your parents should be investing to ensure that your educational needs are met. Ensure that you get proper tunic. Ensure that you have your books and your pencils. Ensure that if extra classes are needed, that they would pay for it. And education is very important in any culture, in any society. They can never take that from you. And please, do not limit education to just bookwork. A part of education is the skill base. So we have persons that are into plumbing, persons that are into cosmetology, persons that are into the food industry, persons that are into technology in this time and season right now. If you're into technology, if you're creative, your parents should ensure that they develop that ability effectively. They should ensure that you become the best person you can. And it takes money. It takes money. Therefore, it is their responsibility to do that. You can sit mommy down, sit grandma down, sit auntie down and say, Mommy, have you invested for my future? Do that. Do it respectfully though. Next, we have here emotional and psychological support. We just had mental health awareness on Friday. Yes, I'm correct. And ever so often, I believe that this function of the family is neglected, very neglected. And I have two persons on the screen. We see them here, John Legend and Chrissy. You would realize that they're broken, very broken, because they lost a loved one, a child. I want you to think about your family right now. Are they catering to your emotional and psychological needs? Ever so often, and if there are any adults watching, ever so often we neglect the needs emotionally and psychologically of children, and it should not be. It is a function of the family, and if it's a function of the family, it should be met. Check on them. If you see them crying, tapping eyes, bally. No, man, no. And a lot of times, they end up in situations, probably molested, probably harmed, and they cannot divulge how they're feeling in a family. The family should be the place where all of this is fostered. All of this is nourished. And how can that happen? If you really cater to the emotional and psychological needs of every family member. Within two, a problem we have is our boys. Them not like when you hug them and kiss them and say, I love you. It is important. When they hug you and kiss you and show you love, you grow up to be good husbands, good workers. You have that mushy, nice side, man, which is important in carrying out all that emotional need of society as well. So, are you thinking about the child that you have? Say a boy. He's 7 years old. And he goes to school feeling like he's bullied. Can he come home and say, even a big brother, they're bullying me at school? And you are not going to ridicule him, but you're going to encourage him as to how to take care of himself, to defend himself, and instead not call him a sissy. The emotional and psychological needs of the family members, I cannot emphasize it enough, is important. Let me read a little of what I have on the slide. When we say emotional and psychological need, it is the ability to show empathy, compassion, and genuine concern for family members. That is very important, hands down. Emotional and psychological support provide stability within the family. It also helps family members to overcome hurdles. And it may be a death in the family. If you're crying, if you feel broken, if you feel sad, is your family a unit to facilitate all of that? Now, CSEC students, this is something that you should be able to write about. Say they put it on the paper, explain the psychological and emotional function of the family. You would speak about it with such passion and you would give examples. And I kid you not, you would get the marks that you deserve. So, let us recap the 4 functions of the family that I looked at just now. 1, we looked at procreation, and we say that is to ensure that the human race continues. We looked at emotional and psychological support, and that is catering to your compassion, that is catering to your spirit man, that is catering to the empathetic side of you. We also looked at economic maintenance, providing the basic needs of the family, food, clothing, and shelter, and socialization. It is the number 1 agent of socialization, the family. I'm going to be going on the board a little bit. I want you to come with me as we look at the types of family. If you remember in the objective, it would have asked you to be able to draw representations of the different types of family. So now that you understand what a family is and you understand the functions of the family, we have to also know the types of family we have in our Caribbean society. Remember, we're focusing on the CSEC syllabus. I am not an artist, but I still want to ignite what you have in you. I still want you to be able to be comfortable in drawing the stickman that you can, as long as it is representing the types of family. So when you think, for example, of a Shensia and a Rogero, what type of family is that representing? When you think of, for example, say, oh, the MTM family, Wayne, Tammy, and the children, what type of family would that be representing? In your community, are you seeing any older brother or sister taking care of the younger ones? In your space, or do you have a friend that lives in what we would call a big yard? We're going to be looking at that right now. So, first of all, this is, and remember, you know, don't fight against my dry. Don't fight against it. This is the man, right? Male. What could we call this man? Call him Rosh. Then we have a girl. This is the woman. Nice ear. She cutie. Look good and so bigger things and so. I see it. We're going to call her Rachel. Below them, they have 2 children. We're going to call this son Zachary. Aww. And then a daughter. Cute daughter. You see her? She cute. Look. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my God. So we're going to call her Tyler. What type of family would we have representing here? Remember now, this is mommy, this is daddy, and the children. So we would call this type of family nuclear. Nuclear family. So in essence, a nuclear family, you have both parents and you have the children. I want you to draw that in your book. Or if you can't draw good, as I say, I'm not fighting against you. Put a little stick man and label them. That's fine. All right? We're going to be looking at another type of family. My line don't draw so straight, but bear with me. Another type of family would be, this is daddy. I could give daddy a pants. Pants here is a Gucci pants. All right? And him shirt. Hot. Well, Gucci fit this. I turn him no their road. I know this. So this is daddy. And daddy has a daughter. A cute little daughter too. All right. We're going to call her Kia. So daddy is here and Kia is here. Both of them live together. Perhaps mommy died, or mommy is overseas, or it may be a case of abandonment, sadly. It doesn't change the fact that this is a type of family. What type of family would it be? Single parent. I hear you say, like I heard you, like you say, like, duh, that must be a single parent, is one somebody and then pick name. So this would be a single parent family. All right? I'm going to come over this side to use the board a little more, because we have 2 other types of families to look at. Good? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a lot of generation. My granny would say gingeration up and gingeration, right? Generation, gingeration. So this is grandma. Then we have uncle, cousin, brother, and over here, what we could have, a grand aunt. Nothing wrong with that. Grand-grand-aunt. And we need one more right here, so we're going to call this a baby. With all of these generation, what type of family would this be? I heard you. Yes, you're correct. You are correct. It is the extended family. So, the extended family simply means we have persons that go beyond the original mommy, daddy. It extends and it has more generations in it. So we say grandma, we say uncle, we say cousins. And a lot of times, most of them live in a very big space, right? Now, the last type of family that we're going to look at, according to the CSEC syllabus, and is in our Caribbean society, is the sibling family. Sibling family. What is the sibling family? So this is Big Brother Ben. Big Brother Ben. Right? And then, give them two eyes, nothing wrong with that. Then he has his brother and his sister. Brother and sister. This is Gianni. And over here we have Crystal. Mommy had to go overseas to work. Big Ben, however, is 25. Gianni is 7, and Crystal here is 13. With that said, Mommy is saying, Ben, I'm going to ask you to watch over your brother and sister until I return, because sadly, Daddy was not playing his role at all. This type of family, as we say, is a sibling family. Sibling. S-I-B-L-I-N-G. Yes, you have to ensure we spell it right, because sometimes the spelling will elude us, it's true. Right? So this is a sibling family. This is where we have an older sibling, older brother or sister taking care of the younger ones. So let us look again. What are the types of family we have here in our Caribbean society, right? Now, we have the nuclear, we have the single parent, we have the extended family, and we have the sibling family. I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint presentation, because I trust that you've been following and that you've been learning as well, right? Now, I want us to do a quick reflection as well as recap, because if you do a lesson and at least 5 not learn, it's like you don't feel good as a teacher. I could not feel good. And because this is the first step in preparation for CSEC, you want to ensure that the foundations, it's set, it's laid, and you're ready and roaring to do well in your CSEC. All right, recap. A family is a group of persons related by what? I'm listening to you. I'm listening. I hear it. Blood, marriage, or adoption. Now, this one you have to do on your own, because we have to also ignite the higher order questions. Why is the family responsible for teaching children values and attitudes? How does the family maintain its members economically? Tell us. It is said that procreation is the most important function of the family. What is your view? Do you think that is true? If you think that is true, tell us why. And finally, I want you to be able to describe the different family types in the Caribbean. Now, this would be our recap for today's session. I want you to, as I said, reflect. Reflect. Have you ever felt broken or scared and a family member helped you to get past it? Reflect. And in reflection, I want you to recognize the importance of the family.